Welcome to this edition of Access Together. These shows are made possible through the combined efforts of Shelby County Schools and GHS-TV. The shows are hosted by the members of the community and utilize the staff and facilities of Germantown High School. If you would like to watch our live stream or get more information about these shows, log on to our website, ghstv.org. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy the following presentation.
Welcome to Let's Talk Money. My name is Harvey Cook, and I want to thank you for joining in. We have this distinct pleasure today of hosting our community's foremost leaders and entrepreneurs. In addition to being Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Memphis, our next guest also serves as the General Chairman of the FedEx St. Jude Classic Golf Tournament. He sits on the Memphis Airport Board and owns several successful businesses. Mr. Jack Sammons is an example of entrepreneurship and community commitment. So without further ado, let's talk money. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, Harvey. Thanks for having me.
Jack, you do so many things. You got so many irons in the fire. We could probably spend a show or two on each one of them.
Oh, we could do a whole season maybe on some of the stuff I'm involved in. But I got to tell you, first of all, Harvey, this environment we're in today, this studio here at Germantown High School is amazing. It's my first time here, but I've been in it practically every TV studio in this town, and this is probably par excellence. There's nothing like it in town, and very impressive, and these students are sharp, engaged, and highly professional, mature beyond their years, and it's a delight to be here.
Well, we welcome you. Can you start off and tell us, with all the different things you do, all the different irons you have in the fire, how do you manage it, and how do you do so many things at the same time and do them so well?
Well, I don't know that I do them so well, but I do like to keep a lot of balls. I'm on the spectrum of a dreamer versus an implementer. I suppose I'm an implementer. I like to manage people and lead. But typically get involved in things, Harvey, that I'm passionate about, like the FedEx St. Jude Classic. I had an older brother that died 60 years ago of cancer, and so I've got the St. Jude mission, and sort of hits at home. I may be the worst golfer among all the general chairman and the PGA Tour, but I love the game. I love the competition and the individual sport that it is fabulous. We have an army of volunteers out there, as you know so well, with your sister Brenda, just an incredible volunteer of ours, a super lady and a good friend. This coming year is going to be our 60th anniversary. It'll be the 60th edition of the FedEx St. Jude Classic. We are getting ready, preparing for some extra special things. I think we're going to have a field that'll be nothing like we've had before. So that goes on. It's a 1 week event. It's really 4 days we got a lot of trouble for 156 fellows to play golf. And it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, June 8th through 11th of 2017. But we also have a couple of pro-ams on the Monday and Wednesday of that week, and there's a 51 weeks before that we're preparing for it. So I'm involved in that all year long. I've been involved, an elected official for a number of years, but the sun has long set on my political career. So it's a delight to be here in front of a TV camera without trying to induce people to vote for me. But you asked the question, how do you juggle all that? You just gotta get up early, you gotta stay up late, and you gotta have good people around you. And I've got some incredible people that assist me every day. Yeah.
I bet that's the key, the people.
This lady, Melinda Calabrese, it's my personal assistant, works an amazing number of hours a week.
Right.
She knows everything about all the issues that I'm involved in and does a fabulous job. I'm lucky to have her. Yeah.
We mentioned that you're on the airport board and used to be the director of that board.
Well, I was the chairman of the board and served in that position for a couple of years. Right after I sort of arrived when the stuff hit the fan.
Right.
When Delta decided to pull out, I became the new chairman and had to deal with some difficult times there at the airport. Not just difficult, some very difficult times. But we've been able to really repossession Memphis International Airport, found new opportunities, new partnerships with airlines, went out and hired a young man who, ironically, is from Germantown, but he was living in Dallas working for American Airlines, Will Livesey, and he's our new vice president of air service development and has done an amazing job of bringing new air service to town, and fares are dropping precipitously. I think that our average fares in Memphis have dropped about 35%,
Really?
which is what that does, it stimulates traffic. There's a term that I never heard in business, was a de-stimulated market, and that's what Memphis was for 2 decades because of the inordinately high airfares that Northwest and Delta was charging. The airport's been through some challenged times, but it's amazingly successful, much of it attributed to the continued success of FedEx, which was born and raised right here.
And anything you can tell us what we could expect there in the future?
Well, I think it might be a while before we have direct flights to Dubai or Paris or something
Right.
like that. But I think we might see a time, Harvey, in our lifetime, where we will have direct international flights, because I think they're building a smaller jet now with a capacity to go across the pond. The trend has been in the last 5 to 8 years to create fortress hubs like Dallas, Atlanta, and Chicago are sort of the primary hubs in America, and sort of build out from there. Memphis was one of the sort of a sub-hub, much like Pittsburgh was for US Air and Cleveland was for United. Because of high fuel costs back 5 years ago, it really it put us out of business in that regard. And when the airlines got in a tight because of high fuel costs, they ran back. They ran back to their hubs. They found a dance partner and they filed bankruptcy. So the 6 major airlines became 3 major airlines overnight, and they've learned to play nice together. They used to be all about market share. Now they're about margin, and it certainly impacted a city like Memphis and Pittsburgh and Cleveland and others. But you can't have a vibrant business community without a robust air service. So an airport is critically important, but our airport has a unique advantage in that we land about 300 to 400 jets a day from FedEx, and a big part of our revenue is based on landed weight. And the good friends of ours at FedEx help, in essence, subsidize much of the passenger traffic that you and I enjoy on a weekly basis.
I'm sure most of our listeners, or hope they've been out there in the last year,
Yeah.
but it is a beautiful, beautiful
It looks
airport.
great.
Yeah.
You know, I'm big on visuals.
Right.
I wanted the place, when you drive in it, I want to say, wow, this is a nice place. You know?
Yeah, it is.
We've added, the parking garage for $6 a day. It was not an airport of consequence in America that where you can park for $6, and it's very secure, and you got cameras and all that kind of thing.
I'm going to stop you now. We have to take a short break, and when we return, we'll continue our lively discussion with Mr. Jack Sammons.
Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Money. If you're just tuning in, I'm Harvey Cook, and today we've been talking with Jack Sammons as we learn more about his vision for business and for our city. Jack, we talked a little bit in the first session about the golf tournament, and I'd like to dive into that a little bit more. Tell us a little bit about the impact that it has on the city and what it means to the city.
You know, my mother's spaghetti recipe involves many, many ingredients. And each little ingredient really plays a role in the flavor and the sensory enjoyment that you get from eating this wonderful dish of hers. Well, cities are the same way. I mean, every component that you have that impacts quality of life is important for corporations to recruit and retain employees. And golf tournaments, professional golf tournaments, are a very limited resource in America. They don't have a PGA Tour stop in Chicago. They don't have one in Nashville. But they've had one in Memphis for 60 years in 2017. You know, we were talking earlier about the airport, and when I became chairman, we kind of walked into a mess when Delta came in and said goodbye. Well, when I took the general chairmanship of the golf tournament, was following the demise of Stanford Financial, and they were the previous sponsor. So I had to go out and raise $8 million, $10,000 at a time. That was a challenge, but we were able to overcome that, and the economy turned around, and thank goodness FedEx came back as our title sponsor. This coming year, 60th anniversary, I think we're going to have your product that you vend, that you market in one of these events, is really your lineup of players. In some years, you know, you're going to have better players than others. We're the week before the U.S. Open, so there's some decision they have to make about whether do you want to rest or do you want to tune up the week before. Phil Mickelson, who, by the way, eats around the corner at Germantown Commissary every time he comes and loves it. He comes every year and does well at the U.S. Open. Dustin Johnson, one of our former champions, who came this close with winning the FedEx Cup this past weekend, 2 weekends ago, is a big Memphis fan, and he'll be coming back. I feel pretty confident that the winner of the FedEx Cup, young Rory McIlroy, he's given us, you know, just indications that he loves Memphis and he wants to come back. So we're imploring him to join the crowd. I think before it's over with, we're going to have the best field we've ever had. And the last couple of years, we've given in cash and equivalents north of $3 million to the hospital. Now, the first year the hospital was open, they had $1 million budget for the whole year. Today, their budget's almost $2 million a day. So even with all the work we do, we can sustain the hospital maybe a day and a half. But most importantly, what the tournament does, Harvey, it creates a global view for the hospital to tell their story, and helps their branding and increases their contributions from people around the world. And you know, it's a big world. America's 5% of the global population. So if St. Jude, that has impact in healthcare for nations around the globe, if they can get people to donate and spread awareness, it's only good for the hospital, which is good for Memphis. Yeah.
These great players that you mentioned that are coming, or hope they will.
Hope they'll come.
What is it that attracts into Memphis?
You know, that's a great question, and these tournaments begin to run together. They get them confused. You forget, was I in Dallas, or was I in Houston last week, or was I in San Antonio, or Memphis, or Charlotte? Because it's the same thing. You're playing a Pro-Am on Wednesday, and hopefully 4 days. If you make the cut, you're playing 4 days of golf. We have a grand history at the FedEx St. Jude Classic of overwhelming them with Southern hospitality, okay? From the minute they land at the Memphis airport, there's some person there who is enthusiastically welcoming them to Memphis. We provide transportation for them. We give them a car. They get a free automobile for the week that they're here. We assist them with housing. Nick Vergas from the Rendezvous comes out and does what they call Rendezvous on the Range on Tuesdays, where the caddies and the players all get to enjoy the world's greatest ribs and cheese plates and all that stuff from the Rendezvous out there on the driving range. On Wednesday, during the Pro-Am, Nick comes out and actually sets up a tent where they can walk through as they play and grab a few ribs. And there's a lot of things we take care of the wives, and we get them pedicures, and we give them free passes to the zoo and the Graceland. They get to go to the Nike plant and shop in the employee store. Because a lot of them travel with their families and their wives, so we take particular attention. Our locker rooms are immaculate. The food that we serve the golfers, you know, it's beyond steak and potato nowadays. These young men are very health conscious, and they're, you know, eating and drinking these drink smoothies that have all types of stuff in it you and I might not want to drink, but it keeps their bellies flat and the ball's going a long way. So we accommodate those needs and those requests. And I have a slogan that we find a way to say yes. If a player comes in and says, my brother-in-law's here and he wants a T-Rex sandwich on rye bread, we'll find it for him, you know.
Right.
We'll find it for him. We take care of them.
And what do you hear, if anything, from the players about the course? And
players love the course. They didn't used to love the course 15 years ago before it was redone. It used to be too easy. Now it's amazingly challenged. Holes 13 and 11, we have more balls in the water than any two holes on the PGA Tour. They like the way we always end up with, you know, great finishes, and it's got a great history here. You know, practically all the great names in golf have played and won here, and St. Jude has become America's charity. FedEx is synonymous with the PGA Tour in that they are the overall tour sponsor with the FedEx Cup, and they certainly want to support the company that is supporting them. FedEx makes a major contribution annually to the game of golf, and I think it's been beneficial, you know, to both the game and to their company. People are excited now, and they understand how the FedEx Cup works, and it's a playoff series, much like we now have in college football. Yeah.
Just one more quick question about the golf. Any chance we could ever get Tiger?
Well, a lot of people that I know say that they'll be surprised if he ever plays again, although he said he's going to play in a few weeks. He needs to play here, and they have a rule now that he's exempt from, but players have to play every 4 years, or every year they have to pick a tournament they haven't played in the last 4 years. So you'll maybe start to see some others. Tiger's not a young man like he used to be either, but he'd be great for Memphis. Would appeal to our demographics certainly, and it'd be great for the hospital because it'd attract a lot of people. He's done amazingly well for the game and for himself, for that matter. The young man's made a lot of money.
Keep our fingers crossed about that.
Sir.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll finish our discussion with Mr. Jack Sammons.
Welcome to Germantown High School, an international baccalaureate creative and performing arts optional school, a destination school for students who are going places.
Our students are of the highest caliber when it comes to their academics and knowledge.
The IB program is a very rigorous program.
You were challenged in a way that you thought you couldn't be challenged. You succeeded, something that other kids may not have thought they could do.
They're accepted to colleges that are just, dream colleges for so many people.
Germantown High School offers a CAPA program, the Creative and Performing Arts program.
When I first came here, I saw the television studio and I was just amazed at what all I saw.
Kids do everything, that they're taught every detail that has to do with theater arts and creative arts.
I love a lot of things about Germantown High School, but primarily what I love is the athletics. There's something exciting around every single corner.
We probably are one of the most diverse high schools in the state of Tennessee, maybe the United States.
I would never doubt about sending your child to Germantown High School.
This high school is something not like any other high school that we have.
There's definitely fun in the work. We find fun in everything we do.
You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Thank you again for joining us on Let's Talk Money. Today we're honored to have Jack Sammons, and with just a little time left, we want to jump back in and finish our discussion.
Harvey, I wanted to mention that we've had sort of a change of the guard in the last year at the golf tournament. Phil Cannon, who was with the tournament for 30 years, retired, and we promoted Daryl Smith to be our tournament director. He's the youngest tournament director on the PGA Tour.
Really? Wow.
He's an incredibly sharp guy. He's a great golfer, just a great community person, and inspires the 1,870 volunteers that we have at the FedEx St. Jude Classic. His wife works at St. Jude in the fundraising department at ALSAC. It's a perfect marriage for all of us, and we're delighted to have Daryl as part of that team.
That's great.
Yes, sir.
Jack, let's talk a little bit about the city of Memphis.
Yeah.
Tell us what's good
Harvey,
about the city.
I think it's a great time to live in Memphis. You know, I get pumped up to see these millennials that are living downtown and going to all the many opportunities you have to eat and drink down there, to live down there. October 22nd, the Great River Crossing, which is across the Harahan Bridge. You'll be able to walk across or ride a bike across. And then once you get to Arkansas, there's another 60 miles of Mississippi River levee that you can ride your bike on. I mean, it's just an amazing an amenity that was, frankly, the leadership of Charlie McBain put that thing together is a great, it's awesome. It's going to be something that tourists are going to want to stay here an extra day for, if not more. What's happening at Graceland with the new giant hotel, the biggest hotel to be built in Memphis since World War II, if not before. What's happening at the Crosstown? I've driven by down Cleveland. My factory is not that far from there. Driven by that thing 1,000 times, and I would have bet you this school that nobody would ever go in there and rehab that 1 million+ square foot building with a multifunctional plan. There's so many of these things are starting to come together. When I first got elected in 1987, if you'd have told me we're going to have an NBA team in Memphis, I'm like, yeah, right. Okay, good luck with that. We not only have an NBA team, we got a great NBA team, a team that can be a contender. So you start putting, like that spaghetti recipe I told you, you start putting all these puzzles together, and that's how you build a great city. And you got to have leadership that's optimistic, that sees the glass as half full, and I think Mayor Strickland is an awesome guy. He loves his town. He's young. He went to the University of Memphis. Speaking of the University of Memphis, President Rudd and Tom Bowen, the athletic director there, I think they're doing a terrific job. They've made great hires with Tubby Smith and Coach Norville. Our best gateway to improve in this city is to invest in our university, and FedEx has stepped up with an amazing contribution to the school. So I'm bullish on the town. You're a stockbroker. I mean, if you're going to ask that question, I'm a bull. I think this town is ready to explode. We got to sell our internal group about how exciting things are, so that our customers, as they come in, will feel the same way. I told the mayor we need to create red carpet rather than red tape for companies that want to invest here, and he embraces that approach. The Chamber of Commerce has created this chairman's circle where they've got businesses that are investing $25,000 to be members of this group that's funding the chamber rather than depending on local government for the chamber's funding, so they can be more independent and more aggressive. I think that's a huge step in the right direction. We've got this almost unlimited supply of the world's best water, which is going to be the liquid gold of the future, and we're at the 50-yard line of America. We're served by 6 railroads. There are only 2 cities in America that are served by all 6 major railroads, Memphis and Chicago. I mean, what else can you ask for? Home of Elvis, birthplace of rock and roll, home of the blues, barbecue ribs. I love this town. I'm excited about it. I really am.
What are some of our challenges? What needs to be fixed, and how do we fix it?
Certainly this staggering percentage of citizens living in poverty is something that you've got to address or continue to address. I mean, it's been the focus of government for 50 years, but in my estimation, the only way we're going to solve that issue or reduce that challenge is by improving education and expanding the economic base, by attracting companies to come here. And Memphis is a cheap place to operate. You know, the rent here is half what it is in Nashville. It's a third of what it is in Dallas. And we're, again, you know, on the 50-yard line. It's a city they need to look at, but we have to create an environment where companies see Memphis as business friendly. And when they come here and create a job, and every person you take off the transfer payment rolls is a bullish indicator for the town. It really is.
We typically have a lot of students that watch this show,
Yeah.
certainly a lot that produce it.
Sure.
What would you tell them, what advice would you give them about what it takes to be successful in a career?
That's a great question. Maybe I'm not qualified to answer that, but I think you gotta find an area in life that you're passionate about. You know, if you believe in selling tennis shoes, or you believe in tennis shoes, then you know you ought to make that's your vocation. If you're all passionate about your church and you want to get involved in that, you know, go for it. Don't let economic prosperity dictate what you're going to do in your life, because money's only going to take you so far. I'm one of these guys that say, here's to the holidays, all 365 of them. I'm passionate about what I do. Right. And it's helped make me healthy and feel good about, you know, what I do every day. But I tell all these young people that I think the opportunities in a town like Memphis eclipse the opportunities in cities like Dallas and Nashville and others, because there's so many other people that they're competing with. And Memphis is a market that it's easy access. You can get into the boardrooms you can talk to the CEOs, the presidents, the leaders of governments, et cetera, much easier than you can in these big cities. And I would encourage these young people to stick around and let's build America's great new city.
That's great. Jack, we've got a lot more I want to talk about. We're
sure.
going to have you back on.
Come back sometime.
Well,
you bet,
I hope
Harvey.
you will.
Thank you.
Once again, we want to thank our guest, Jack Sammons, for being with us today. For more information on our show, please check us out at the web at GHS-TV.org, where we're streaming live 24 hours a day. You can also check us out on Facebook and Twitter. We hope you will join us again next month on Let's Talk Money.